500 million ringgit Sukuk Prihatin launched. EC ready to go ahead with Sabah polls. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. You're watching Updates at Noon with me, Azlani Adani. Malaysia's first digital sukuk, the 500 million ringgit Sukuk Prihatin under the National Economic Recovery Plan Penjana, was launched at the Ministry of Finance today. The launch was witnessed by the Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah, Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin and Finance Minister Tengku Sri Datuk Sri Zafrul Abdul Aziz. Prime Minister, in his speech, said that the issuance of the sukuk, which can be subscribed to online by the public as well as the corporate sector, follows requests from various quarters to support the country's economic recovery efforts from the COVID-19 pandemic.
Governor Bank Negara, saya amat terharu apabila dimaklumkan bahawa kerajaan telah menerima banyak tawaran yang jujur dan ikhlas daripada rakyat yang ingin membantu kerajaan dalam menyokong langkah-langkah pemulihan ekonomi ini. Keprihatinan sebegini yang ditunjukkan oleh rakyat pada saya adalah luar biasa dan mencerminkan penghayatan semangat Malaysia prihatin.
The Premier said the proceeds from the sukuk will be channeled to several initiatives that have been identified, including improving connectivity for rural schools, funding grants for research into infectious diseases, and financing some micro, small and medium enterprises, especially women entrepreneurs. At the event, the Yang di-Pertuan Agong consented to become the sukuk's first investor. Separately, Amanah Saham Bumiputra ASB celebrates its 30th anniversary yesterday with the theme Your Aspirations, Our Entrustment. PNB Group Chairman Tan Sri Dr. Zeti Aziz in her message noted ASB's growth to become the largest unit trust fund in the country with wide-ranging investments in various financial assets and major national companies.
Selepas 30 tahun, ASB kini mempunyai lebih daripada 10 juta pelabur dengan saiz dana mencecah 170 bilion unit dalam edaran. ASB kini merupakan tabung unit amanah terbesar negara dengan equity dalam pelbagai syarikat utama di Bursa Malaysia.
Tan Sri Dr. Zeti added throughout this 30-year period, ASB has provided the dividend returns and bonus amounting to 151.9 billion ringgit to its unit holders, despite at times being confronted with challenging economic crisis. ASB is managed by Amanah Saham Nasional Bumiputra ASNB, a wholly owned subsidiary of Pemodalan Nasional Berhad PNB. ASB has unique features as it is a RM1 fixed price fund and only requires an initial investment as low as 10 ringgit. The Shop Malaysia online and e-commerce campaign introduced under the National Economic Recovery Plan Penjana is expected to revitalise and reboot the country's domestic economy sector. The initiative, led by Communications and Multimedia Ministry KKMM and its agency, Malaysia's Digital Economy Corporation MDEC, offers various opportunities for local online businesses to advance. KKMM Secretary General Datuk Suryani Ahmad said besides increasing Malaysian online consumers and propelling local businesses to make their digital leap, the initiative also acts as a platform to promote Malaysian-made products.
Sebagai sebuah syarikat Malaysia, wajarlah dan sangat sesuailah mereka mempunyai domain mereka sendiri. Contohnya abc.my. So, my itu melambangkan syarikat mereka ditubuhkan di Malaysia.
The Shop Malaysia online campaign, which kicked off on 1st August, is a collaboration between various e-commerce private partners to assist local businesses affected by current economic situation. Meanwhile, MDEC Chairman Datuk Wira Dr. Rais Hussein Muhammad Arif said the COVID-19 pandemic has accelerated the digitalisation transition.
Jadi diharap program-program ini akan dimanfaatkan secukupnya oleh semua pemain industri PKS, mikro dalam menjayakan. Dan untuk mendapat detail bolehlah kita layari sesawang mdec.com.my di mana dapat banyak peluang-peluang dan program-program yang perlu diambil.
The campaign, an initiative under Penjana, will end in September. The Election Commission, EC, is ready to go ahead with the Sabah state election, although there is a judicial review application made against the decision to dissolve the State Legislative Assembly. EC Deputy Chairman Dr. Azmi Sharam said that so far it had not received any court directive regarding the matter. The EC had earlier announced that Sabah would hold its 16th state election on 26 September, with nomination days set for 12 September and early voting on 22nd September. On 3rd August, former Sabah Chief Minister Tan Sri Musa Aman and 32 other assemblymen applied for a judicial review of the decision to dissolve the State Assembly. The Kota Kinabalu High Court had set 21st August to rule whether the decision of the Sabah Yang di-Pertua Negeri Tun Juha Mahiruddin to dissolve the State Legislative Assembly on 30th July is justiciable. Meanwhile, Dr. Azmi said the EC would study the standard operating procedures SOPs for the prevention of COVID-19, especially on physical distancing and the use of hand sanitizers for the Chini and Slim by-elections when drafting one for the Sabah polls. He said the EC would also launch a Jom Kita Undi campaign through various media channels in a bid to encourage the people of Sabah to come out and vote. The number of infections from the Tawa cluster has increased aggressively since it was first detected on 13 August. 7 new cases were reported yesterday, bringing the total number of cases under this cluster to 46. All new cases involve a third generation of infections, in which 4 cases were reported in Kedah, while 3 in Pulau Pinang. According to the Health Ministry, a total of 1,135 individuals have been screened from this cluster up to noon yesterday, of which 918 were screened in Kedah, with 39 people testing positive for the virus, 655 testing negative, and 224 more are awaiting results. While in Penang, 208 individuals were screened, 7 of whom tested positive, 175 returned negative, and 26 more are awaiting results. In Perak, 9 have been screened, in which 8 tested negative, and another is waiting for the results. 6 patients under this cluster are being treated at the Intensive Care Unit ICU. As for the Salah cluster, 2 have tested positive, taking the infection toll for this cluster to 6 cases. A total of 269 individuals from Kedah were screened for this cluster and 6 tested positive, 214 tested negative, and 49 are awaiting result, while Pulau Pinang, 4 were screened and all tested negative. Meanwhile, Thailand is investigating a case in which a Malaysian man had tested positive for COVID-19 after returning home to Kuala Lumpur from Bangkok. The 46-year-old man lived in Bangkok and returned to Malaysia on 5th August. The man tested negative in the first COVID-19 test and positive in the second on 15th August. In a statement, Director General of Disease Control Department Suwanachai Watananjing Charonchai said the Public Health Ministry has contacted its counterparts in Malaysia to seek further details on the case. This includes information on his travelling records and investigate the source of infection. The health officials will also trace and conduct screening on all close contacts of the patient. Thailand has recorded more than 80 days without local transmission. All new COVID-19 cases reported in the kingdom were Thais who returned from abroad and selected groups of foreigners who are allowed to enter the kingdom. To date, Thailand has reported 3,378 cases with 58 fatalities. The My Sejahtera app has been upgraded with a new function that allows users to check in their dependents simultaneously when signing in at premises as part of measures to facilitate the tracing of close contacts of COVID-19 patients. Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham Abdullah said My Sejahtera users can now use the new functions by updating their app to the latest 24th version, noting that this function would speed up the mandatory registration process at premises. In a statement, Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham said no limit has been set for the number of names that can be entered as an individual's dependents. After having added the names and details of the dependents, My Sejahtera users can select the names of the family members that have been added for check-in at premises. He said this function can be used by all users of the My Sejahtera app to check in at all premises registered with this app. Malaysian Maritime Enforcement Agency (MMEA) personnel had adhered to the firearm rules of the engagement before firing shots at Vietnamese fishing boats in an accident about 180 km from Tok Bali, Kelantan on Sunday. MMEA Director General Admiral Datuk Muhammad Zubil Maksum said in an attempt to detain two Vietnamese fishing boats in the 11:40 p.m. incident, in which one Vietnamese was shot dead, the MMEA crew had earlier fired warning shots. In a statement last night, Datuk Muhammad Zubil explained that the warning shots were ignored and the Vietnamese even threw a Molotov cocktail and hard objects such as metal bars, large wood blocks and spanners at the MMEE boat, thus threatening the enforcement crew's lives and government's assets. He added the fishing boats then acted more aggressively by ramming into MMEE boat, causing the crew to have no choice but to open fire in defending themselves and assets. Besides one Vietnamese fisherman dead, the MMEA also arrested 12 remaining crew members of the boats. Datuk Muhammad Zubil said MMEA took the matter of the aggressiveness and extreme actions of the Vietnamese fishermen seriously, which threatened the lives of the Malaysian enforcement personnel and government's assets. He said a transparent investigation will be carried out accordingly on the incident, and MMEA will continue to enforce the law and existing standard operating procedure in the guarding of the country's waters against encroachment. The Road Transport Department, RTD, has collected 3.85 million ringgit in traffic summonses between 1 and 15 August, following the 70% discount offer for compoundable summonses. Its Director General Datuk Sri Shahrudin Khalid said the amount involved payments of 51,178 summonses through various channels such as RTD fixed and mobile counters, websites and kiosks. Datuk Sri Shahrudin said there was a total of 2.4 million outstanding summonses with an estimated collection of 170 million ringgit after discount, while some 1.79 million summonses have also been blacklisted.
Saya berharap para pengguna jalan raya yang ada saman JPJ yang masih belum selesai, sila hadir ke kaunter JPJ ataupun portal kita untuk menyelesaikannya, kerana kita nak mengelakkan sebarang kesesakan kemudian. Sekiranya tamat tempoh 31 Ogos ni, kita akan bermula 1 September dia akan balik asal. Saman tidak ada diskaun 70%.
The discount is being offered in conjunction with the National Month and in line with the National Day 2020 theme, Malaysia Prihatin. That concludes today's edition of Updates at Noon. In our top story, 500 million ringgit Sukuk Prihatin launch. Tune in to News at 10 coming up at 10 p.m. on saluran berita RTM on My Free Views channel 123. You can also stream the news by surfing RTM's MyClick. Thank you. I'm Azlania Dani. Stay tuned to TV2. Goodbye for now.